Greetings, fellow Demon Slayers. This is Timon and Mari here today with an Action Timon and video. So, for today, we're going to do our Event Hard 5 gameplay. We're going to be using Sakura, because I said that I'd showcase some sort of build for her since she's been neglected, because I don't really play her anymore. So, without further ado, we're going to get right into it. I'm going to run the event, smack on the mobs, and then share the build with you guys. So we're going to go on to Hard 5. I was kind of reluctant to even do this event on video because it's really easy, at least to me, but I'll share the build anyway, why not? And then when the next event rolls around, because we will inevitably get another one right after this, then hopefully it'll be more challenging and I'll stick to using Sakura so we can really test her. But yeah, this is pretty easy, it's surprising she actually does decent damage here. It's really refreshing because it's how she was at launch before the game started ramping up in difficulty. Alright. Ow. You scumbag spiders. But yeah, while I'm doing this, I want to talk to you guys. So I've heard news about Asuka. Apparently, I'm hearing that she's really bad. I don't know how credible it is, but I've heard it from a few sources, a few people who watch stuff going on the JP server have whispered me, saying she's not so great. And Ark has been watching videos for her, and I trust you guys. I trust his opinion on the game because he's no stranger to action games. And he says she doesn't seem that great either, so if Ark is saying she's not that great, she's probably not that great. Which seems like it's a little bit of a disappointment because, well, for one, she's the latest character, so you think by now, they'd have their head out of their asses and know how to make a character viable, so we don't have things like Shiranui happening. But I guess they couldn't do that with her. But we'll see, people are going to buy her bundle regardless when it comes out after maintenance. So we will see how bad she is, because I know my videos will blow up with comments if Asuka sucks because she's a fan favorite. With all that being said, Sakura did good. She got it done. What's the time looking like? 1 minute 19. You're slow, Sakura. Okay. So yeah, this event really isn't that hard. The only thing the boss does that's mildly challenging is he screams at you and it can stun you if you're in front of him. So you just try to stick to his back or burn him down like I did and you should have no issues. So, we'll give her a head pat. Oh no! Okay. So, what's the build looking like? Well, spoiler alert, of course we're running Blue Sakura. Now, as far as the weapon, we're running the Garou Kiba main because the defense debuff synergizes wonderfully with the build we are using. If you do not have a Garou Kiba, or you're lacking an ultra rare in general, Skeletal Knife, or Skeleton Blade rather, is actually pretty damn good. Or if you have a Yamato no Orochi, you could use that as well. I don't like hers as much as Asagi's hunter weapon, because Asagi's basic attacks have more reach and more follow through, so it's easier to spam them. Sakura, if you try to basic, you'll probably get knocked out of things. So I would honestly probably suggest the Blade for the critical rate over the Orochi, in my personal opinion, because the crit rate would serve her better. But Garou Kiba definitely is probably the best choice for PvE. We have Phantom Knife sitting as the sub-slot weapon, simply because it's the beefiest weapon I have for this slot, so it gives her the most stat. As far as Magatama, of course we're running Red Magatama with the fabled increased damage dealt to all enemies on each of them, just to boost the damage output she has overall. Because one of my biggest issues with Sakura is that she doesn't hit super hard compared to other characters. So, for skills, we are running Shadow Cleave, obviously, because spend to win OP, and it hurts. She gets reduced damage taken by 50% while doing the attack. At 2 blue, it adds 2 additional spins for more punishment, and at 3 blue, the damage is increased by 165% overall. So a great skill to slot. Next, we're using the Shadow Spin. I actually really like this skill just because, like, when the game was younger, it was harder to clear stuff like by just blowing things up. You had to kind of interact with the game more. So the 50% HP achievements were a lot harder to do. So I fell in love with this skill at the time because it heals you and it gets some pretty beefy crits. Like, I don't think it happened in this video, but if you manage to get like the Garou Kiba defense debuff going, I've seen Shadow Spin by itself crit for like 60k, which in Sakura's case is a pretty big hit. On top of that, it heals you, so it's a good deal overall. I love that skill. Finally, we're using Shadow Fling. People may not like this skill, but I do because it's literally a perpetual debuff once you throw the first one, because the uptime on the debuff is 15 seconds and the cooldown base for the skill is only 12 seconds. It homes in, so it's guaranteed damage. It's always going to hit something, and then it reduces their damage output by 30%, so you take less damage. And in the case of this build, it actually causes you to deal more damage because if we go to the supporters, we actually are using Micah. Micah is devastating on Sakura, which I've said this before when I talked about Micah. I think she would be good on Sakura, and the reason being is that Shuriken Toss. Simply because it's a guaranteed debuff, it lasts forever, so it keeps Micah's passive active, so once you throw the Shurikens, you're free to spin and do whatever you want. And even if something isn't debuffed, the spin can cause a defense debuff because of the Garou Kiba. So overall, it's a really solid, consistent build, and she's able to mow stuff down because of it. Now, in the main slot, we are running Onigumo simply because that map did have a lot of demons. If you do not have an Onigumo, in the case of this event, because there are humans hanging around on the map, you can run a Haruka main, this waifu right here, to deal additional damage to the humans, or you could just simply move Micah to the main slot to allow her to proc her own passive. And the other benefit to using Onigumo with Micah is Micah's ability also pops... I'm sorry, Onigumo's ability also pops Micah's passive because it snares everything. So, yeah, if you don't have an Onigumo, put Haruka here, or just simply make Micah the main. If you make Micah the main, you could simply take and put good old Mai in the secondary slot for that promising damage reduction that we all know and love. I know most people don't have a Fuyumi, so we would simply take the Fuyumi off the bar for a recent free-to-play ultra rare. I don't see her right now, but she's in here somewhere. I'm talking about Haru. Oh, she's on dispatch, that's why I don't see her. But yeah, Haru, the New Year's event supporter, the ice girl that they mistranslated and said she used fire. That waifu would go in the final slot just to simply make the cooldowns go faster for Micah or Onigumo, depending on who's the main, or what you have. The reason I use Fuyumi, though, is because it's a guaranteed increased damage to melee attacks, while reducing the damage I take from melee. And yeah, overall, that's the build with her. I'm really enjoying it. Like, I'm not going to go back to Sakura or anything. I'm never going to be a Sakura main again. But the build's okay. Like, she has decent attack stat. She has 9k attack, 9800 crit, so she's in an okay spot. Her stats are really all around, so it's a decent character overall. I still think that she could use some sort of buff. I don't know if you guys saw, but I got knocked out of some abilities, and it was mildly frustrating, but I just kind of ignored it because we were talking about Asuka. Either way, that'll be the video. If you found the build helpful, please like and subscribe, as it really does help me towards becoming a full-time YouTuber. And again, when Asuka drops, guys, like, spam me with comments, whisper me if you want on Discord. I need to know if she sucks, because I would be really surprised if they somehow botched a character. Like, I'm surprised I'm hearing that she's bad in general, and that's just crazy that that's even a thing. Because if we look at the store, the characters have gotten better overall. We got releases out of order, so Sue came earlier for Japan, so it makes sense that she was weaker. Shiranui is weak as hell. I don't know what happened with her because she came later for them. But overall, like, there are some well-designed characters. Emily's good, Renko's good, Asagi's good. Sakura's passable. She's like dead middle. Yuki's great after her buffs. I hear Sue's doing fine after her buff, which is great. Murasaki's great after her buff. And so is Kurenai. I'm even hearing that Obero's good too, like, and I heard initially that she wasn't so great, but now I'm hearing that people are happy with her. So it's surprising that moving forward that the characters may be bad, like that's even a conversation, because most gacha games, as they release new characters, they get progressively better or at least stay decent, because one, power creep, and it has to be something that people actually want to obtain, so they make the new characters better just to give them a selling point, and two, the devs just become better at making things inside their own meta. So due to experience of working on your own game and power creep, characters generally get better in gacha games as the game progresses. So I've rambled a bit, but I'm just worried Sakura may suck, even though I'm not getting her. Like, I know a lot of people who are excited, and I just want them to be able to get their character and enjoy her and not feel like they have to crawl back to Emily or Kurenai to get things done. Like, we need more, like, OP characters. If I had my way, everyone would be OP, because then it, like, makes it so you can use your waifu, because that's what we're all here for at the end of the day, our waifus. And I feel bad for people who have, like, a scuffed waifu, especially, like, someone like Shiranui. She's scuffed, she sucks, but I still play her. So with that, you guys have a great rest of your day. Good luck in your gachas in the arena. And you boys and gals, go ahead and enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I'll catch you tomorrow with another video. Bye-bye.